Welcome to the session, and let me just share my screen. So today's webinar is on the topic of visualization with Twinmotion and how we are going to achieve that, how you can do your arenas project till the date. We have covered in numbers of I think 6 or 7 numbers of webinars. Now we are coming towards the end, and the second last topic which was left is Twinmotion, that how you can visualize your designs with the use of Twinmotion. Moving forward, let me introduce myself. I am Kulsumiram. I am one of the BIM specialist and solution consultant at Arcons, based out of Gurgaon. And firstly, let me introduce my company. My company is Arcons. We are located in all over the world. We are available on global region. We are available in America, Europe, India, Australia, and New Zealand. Basically, in India, we are having 150 plus technical resources, and for other countries, you can see we have other resources as well. The industry focus which we are focusing as of now is the AEC industry. With the AECO industry, we are focusing on industries as manufacturing, media, entertainment, education, government, consulting services, hardware, salesware, and graphic art and computing. And in education, I'm just highlighting this that we are also providing training which is related to BIM. If you want to learn more about BIM or if you want to upgrade your skills for BIM, we provide the whole training for those sectors, basically for AEC industry, which we focuses on architecture, engineering, and construction, and operation and maintenance. And moving forward, I would just like to introduce Kirtana, who will give you a brief intro about design brief. And Kirtana, over to you.
Thanks, Kulsum. I'll share my screen.
Yeah, sure.
I hope my screen is visible.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So, hi everyone. Thanks for joining the session. So, we'll have a brief discussion about the brief of Beyond the Game Adaptive Arenas for Tomorrow, that is Design Advanced 2025 theme. Just a moment. Yeah, sorry. So we'll be discussing various aspects today, like the theme of the competition, the task, the guidelines and participation, and frequently asked questions. So theme, as we already discussed, it is Beyond the Game Adaptive Arenas for Tomorrow. So it basically focuses on multipurpose arenas that embrace the concept of flexible and reversible architecture. So we are looking for structures that can seamlessly transform, relocate, or disappear based on the evolving needs. So, arenas have always been symbolized as human gatherings, hosting major events and cultural celebrations. So, in today's fast changing world, we have to design spaces that also need to change according to the current needs. So, fixed and single use venues are quite outdated, and we have to think on the multi purpose point of view. So why there is a need for adaptive arenas? So like back in times, if you see, the arenas were built for only one single purpose, and the purpose was to unite people from different cultures and countries, and the purpose quite remains singular. So for the time now, due to the mass entertainment and diversified entertainment, stadiums could no longer be, of single purpose. So that's where multi-purpose arenas, the need for a multi-purpose arenas came into the picture. So we can already see a lot of examples in India and all across the globe wherein, the arenas are, used for other purposes apart from the sports activities. Like for example, we can see the DY Patil Stadium, which was, it's basically a cricket stadium, but it was also converted and used for hosting Coldplay concerts. So, what is the main challenge of this particular, competition is if the structures that we are designing should not just be multifunctional, but also be sustainable, accessible, and future-proof. So, future-proof in a sense, it should be able to host competitions and host crowds of different sizes. Like it should also be flexible enough to be used for both large scale events and smaller gatherings as well. And the main focus is it should transform, relocate, and disassemble as needed. So there are a few guidelines for the site and program. So the proposed site should be preferably set in an urban setting where culture, sports, and entertainment meet in a place. And the participants can choose any city in India or abroad that fits the design brief, and it should be at least of 10 to 15 acres and capable of hosting around 40,000 spectators for major events. Also, depending on the site that you're choosing, you have to keep in consideration the climate, the cultural significance, so that it it is created like a functional and contextually relevant space. So the structure that we design shouldn't be like out of place for that particular site that you're choosing. And you can go for local bylaws for that particular site, or in case there is no local bylaw for that particular site, you can go for national building code. Then you have to keep in consideration the flexibility of extensions as well. So it should also be suitable for pop-up festivals, exhibitions, keep venue active beyond major events. Like we cannot expect sports activities happening throughout the year, so we have to plan accordingly. So there are certain design considerations that we look into it. So adaptability and multifunctionality. So that's what we have been, covering since the beginning. And scalable seating and crowd management to accommodate different size of crowds, and universal accessibility and user experience for everyone to use that particular space, even the physically disabled people. Sustainability and climate responsiveness. Ephemeral and reversible and circular design has to be taken in consideration. Cultural sensitivity and architectural identity. Smart infrastructure and digital integration. So let's look into the prices. So there are certain cash prizes for the top three winners from 75,000 to 25,000, and the top 10 entries will be published on the competition website. And e-certificates for all participants would be given who have submitted the competition entries, and recognition for the institutes that adopt the brief as studio project. And there are much more perks for participating and submitting the being in the competition. So there are certain participation details, like registration closes by 16th of October, submission closes by 29th of October, and the competition is eligible for all the UG and PG students as well as young professionals from the fields of architecture, planning, civil engineering, and design globally. And recent graduates and young professionals, if they have graduated in the year of 2023, are also eligible. So, a maximum of 3 members per team can participate, and interdisciplinary and inter-college teams are also allowed. So, let's look into frequently asked questions about the competition. So, is there any registration fee for the competition and workshop? There is no registration fee at all, it is free. I'm a student from an institution placed out of India and don't see my school listed, and I still eligible? So if you do not see your college or institution in the list, you are still eligible. You can simply click on not listed and enter the name, and your entry will be accepted. So can the team be from different colleges? Yes, inter-college teams and inter-batch teams are allowed for the competition. So what if one of my teammates can't attend after registration? So there is no problem with individual participation as it is allowed. Just ensure that the work is done solo if the teammate isn't participating or withdraws after registration. So can we choose a site on our own? So choosing a site is totally up to you. You can choose an urban site in tier 1 or tier 2 city of area 10 to 15 acres. So I have already worked on a arena project in the past. Can I resubmit it? So of course you can submit it. If you previously worked on a similar project, you may update or modify it to align with the current brief guidelines and submit it as your entry. So here is a scan code. So if you haven't registered yet, you can scan the QR code to register for Design Advanced 2025 competition. If you have any doubts, you can just drop in the chat box. It will be addressed towards the end of the session.
Okay, thank you, Kirtina, for the design brief. Now we'll just go and talk more about how we are going to render our visualization into Twinmotion. So let me just share my screen. Okay. Firstly, we'll look into what is Twinmotion. So Twinmotion is basically a visual storytelling tool that combines real-time speeds, like you can go for real-time changes if you are using any software which is having a real-time connectivity with Twinmotion, and a workflow is also going to be created if you want an open-ended freedom, like you want your skills or levels to be upgraded on real-time basis, that can also be done. Secondly, it is incredibly easy to learn and use. Like you can learn Twinmotion into hours. You won't be requiring days. Even if at the end of this particular webinar, you will be able to understand how to use basic tools of Twinmotion. Also, the interface is very intuitive. You can, and it is very user friendly. With some simple clicks, you are able to drag and drop the materials. You will be able to change the scenes, you'll be able to change the time, you will be able to change the templates, and demo files are also there for you to go and have some trial and testing. Moving forward, you can also assemble your scenes if you want some high quality of library. So we have inbuilt library of Megascan as well as Sketchfab. These two libraries are already inbuilt in Twinmotion. So if you want a good quality of components to be built it into your scenes or your renders, that can also be added without having any interference. As well as with Adobe is also, if you're creating any material in Adobe Scan, that can also be included into Twinmotion. And we have a lot of population tools, like if you want to populate your scenes with the movement of people or with the movement of vehicles, or is it related to any trees, that can also be done into few clicks. So it is that easy as I'm talking it about. Moving forward, we also have some advanced features like lighting, materials, and effects. So if you want to go with real-time global illumination, that can also be done if you want to have an extensive library. So we already have an extensive library. There are a lot of materials which is related to PBR, because at the time of stadium, you will be required to have materials like AFT panels, PFT panels. These also are already into your library and you can use them. Moving forward, like I said, you can also have support assistance with Adobe Substance if you want to work on the material on which you have already worked on using Adobe Substance, then that can also be supported into Twinmotion. So you don't need to require to create material again. And like I said, you have the option that you can change the time, day, year, season, anything can be altered within seconds. It is that easy. And when we talk about any integration, so that can also be done if you, or you can import, or Twinmotion can support all the CAD drawings, all the BIM models. If you're using modeling as OBJ format, that can also be included over here. You can also use a plugin by the name of Data Smith. So when Twinmotion was not inbuilt into Autodesk software, we were using DataSmith as a plugin. It will help to transport or export our project from one software to another. So DataSmith can also be used as a plugin, but now from moving forward with Revit 2024, it is already inbuilt it into Revit, so you can use it that as well. You can also import scans if you want to capture the reality. Import scans can also be included. Then you can also provide over here panoramas, videos, presentations, and images on the artist station. We have the whole exportation material that you can do, and I'll be also telling you how to export your scenes over here. As well as, to go for the Twinmotion, you will be require an Unreal Engine. So basically, Unreal Engine is a gaming tool from where you can download various types of games from there, and it is from Epic Games. So if you want to go and use Twinmotion, you first need to go and create ID on Epic Games. After that, once you go on to Unreal Engine, then you can go and access your Twinmotion. And you can also create photorealistic quality of real time, like if you want to do any changes onto your any software. If you're using Revit, take an example as in Revit, then with the help of Revit, you can do any changes and you can sync your back your model with Twinmotion very easily. Like I said, after Revit 2024, it is inbuilt, so you don't need to go and export your model again. You can simply go and create it connectivity or live syncage between the two. As well as you can create paths over here for your images that can be also added over here. And we also have a cloud platform to share your projects or to present your renders into panorama, and you can also use web browser over here for Twinmotion. Now I'll be just showcasing you a small video. Let me just uh, include sound over here. Just a moment. Okay, let me just stop sharing. Okay. Okay, so we have over here with Twinmotion, you can go for real-time 3D. You can go with high quality images. You can create panoramas, videos as well. 360 VR is also available that you can create videos, and you can also go with file integration process. Like I said, we are having live syncage between BIM softwares and rendering. Moving forward, like let's just say if you are having or using other tools for rendering, you must be aware of that with this quality of image, I'll be requiring at least an hour or more than an hour to get this quality of image. But with the use of Twinmotion, it could be done into seconds or minutes. So it is that easy that you can create your export also, because it doesn't require that much of time for exportation as well. Like for other software, it does require 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, but with Twinmotion, you can just simply go and export, and within seconds you can have your renders in your hand. It is that quick and that easy. Now let me just show you this video that how with some few clicks you can create and generate whole scenery over here. Let me just play it for you. Okay, it was like I think you got the idea that how easy it is to create any particular material, to create vegetation, to change the age of your vegetation from here. So it is that easy. Now let me move forward. With Twinmotion and Revit, we can also create a live sync. Like I said, into the tab of view, you will be having Twinmotion, and from that particular Twinmotion tab, you can open directly your Twinmotion and you can create a direct linkage between from your Revit file to your Twinmotion file. And if let's just suppose it is not working, it is having some issue, and that can also be done. So you can also export a data smith file, like I said, and that can be enables for to create a linkage between the two applications. So that can also be done in if your Revit does not allow you to go and change your screen for Twinmotion. And it doesn't require any kind of costing because it is already done and built it into Revit. And if you want to have a, firstly, you need to create an Epic Launcher ID. Once you create the ID, you will be getting into Epic Launcher and you will be going for Twinmotion. Now let me show you the interface of Epic Launcher and I'll show you that how you can access Twinmotion. So firstly, okay, now I think it is visible. So this is the interface of Epic Games. Over here in Epic Games, we have Unreal Engine, and in the Unreal Engine, you have some other options of games as well. But we are going to focus on Twinmotion. So once I go on Twinmotion, we have different versions of Twinmotion. Right now for Revit, I'm using Revit 2024. So that means I need to install Twinmotion 2023 because Twinmotion works are the step downgraded from Revit. Whatever the version of Revit you are using, you need to install or launch your Twinmotion of a year before version. That is how it is going to create a link, direct link between your Revit file to Twinmotion. And it happens a lot. People do ask that why my Twinmotion 24 is not working with Revit 24 because you need to download Revit Twinmotion 23 instead of Twinmotion 24. So right now you can see I already have Twinmotion 23, but you have other versions also. So if you are using Revit 25, you can install Revit, Twinmotion 24. If you are using 26, you can use these two, right? From here, once you click on any particular one, you need to first install. After creation of your ID, it is going to be done. Once you click on install, it is going to be installed, and afterwards you can just simply click over here launch and it is going to be launched. That is easy. That is how it is going to be installed into your system. Moving forward, let me show you that once you create and how you are going to create a link. So like I said, with Revit you have a direct linkage, but I just need to tell you once you create or link afterwards, we have one, two, three options that needs to be taken care of for Twinmotion. For that, I am just going to open an OBJ format file because with Revit was taking a lot of time for me. That is why I selected an OBJ format file. But one more thing that I need to show you is if I again click on this and click on geometry, you can see we have these versions. We have FBX, SketchUp file, OBJ format, and 3ds format. DA collada files can also be inserted, and also we have FBX. Again we have these versions as well. So you can select that what type of data smith file you want to add, that can also be added, or if you want any other version or extension, that can also be added over here. Now if I simply click on any file which I already have onto my system, you can see that it is going to open. But we have some options which needs to be taken care as if you want to open your file first. Firstly, we have options as materials. We have three options. One is keep hierarchy, second is collapse by material, third is collapse all. These are important material. If you select keep hierarchy, what will happen, each and every element in your Revit file, if you will be having it, you can see that material. And if you want to select any particular wall and you want that particular material to be applied to same kind of wall at once, it is not going to be happening. You need to select individually each and every wall in keep hierarchy. If you select collapse by material, then it will just select a singular material because we also create materials at the time we are creating our model into Revit or any other software. And if you select collapse by material, that means it will carry on a single material, and you, with the use of that material, you can change the material and it is going to be done at all the places where that particular material is going to be applied. Third is collapse all. So in this one, your particular model is going to be look grayed out, and if you provide a singular material, you need to select it. It is going to be done at all the surfaces, and it is not good going to divide itself or subcategorize itself into different categories. So the best thing that you can select at this point, and what we usually select, is collapse by material. Once we select this collapse by material, it is going to be divided my particular model into three or four materials, or how many materials I'll be having, and it is going to be completed into that. Now if I select this one, then it is going to be opening. I just need to showcase you that how it is going to be done once we import our material over here. Okay, till it is happening, let me now showcase you how the, let me just see over here, we are having a option. So we'll select to imported materials. You can also select on keep both because it's an OBJ format. That is why it is asking that if you want a scene material to be added or if you want any imported material. So I'll be selecting keep both. I want both the materials. And when it is going to be done, the model of mine is going to be imported over here into Twinmotion. Otherwise, you can also create a direct link from Revit if you are using Revit to Twinmotion. Now, if I show you over here, let me select it. Okay. Over here, you can see this is particularly my model. And in this model, we have Noida residence. Under that, you can see we have different materials. And according to material, it has distinguished all the materials into my model. If I would have selected keep hierarchy, what would be happening that for this particular wall, if I select this any particular wall, it is going to be selected only that particular wall, and I cannot put material one by, I need to put material one by one for all the walls. Instead of that, I have selected set by or collapse by material, so that I can simply select any one material, and with the use of that particular material, it is going to be highlighted for me. And you can see all the material related to door panel is selecting over here. So that is how you are going to distinguish between keep hierarchy, collapse all, and collapse by material. So we have three options, and out of which we usually use is collapse by material. So that wherever I want to put a material over here, I can just simply select and put that material, and it is going to be done at all the places. Okay. So this is how we do it. Now moving forward, let me just show you another project of mine in which we'll be talking more about how to use Twinmotion interface. So this is the again another stadium that I have already opened into my system. Now into this we have library over here, and these are basically the properties and scene. Scene is this. If you select over here, your scene is going to be opening. We have the stadium, starting base, and the starting ground. And if I select properties, my property is going to be open. Whatever the type of material or element I'll be selecting, my property is going to be opening from here. Right, so this is your property panel, and you can also switch your tab, like if you want it into vertical or horizontal side, right? I'm not going to do any changes. Now in library, we have library as in material, we have library as in vegetation, we have library for different objects, light, HDR environment. So if you want to create any environment related to HDR quality, so that can also be done. You can select these and your environment is also going to be created over here. But moving forward, I just firstly show you that how you can select your landscape. I'll select this one, this particular one material, and I'll delete that particular material. Now select landscape. You have basically two types of landscape. One is flat and other one is rocky grassland. And to apply this particular landscape onto my project, I need to select it, drag and drop it. Once you drag and drop it, then it is going to be applied over here, and that goes same with all the elements and functionality. So if I again go back onto libraries, like I said, we have materials. In materials, you can say I have glass. Under glass, you will be having different options. Under metals also, you will be having different options. You can simply select any particular material and drag and drop it. Once you drag and drop it, it is going to be done like this. You can see it over here. And with that, we have all the properties which is related to our material over here. Like I said, we have a property panel. So if you want to change the color of your material, you can simply select on this box of color, and you can choose a color by of your own choice. So let me select this one, and okay, it has not been selected. Okay, let me increase it, and I'll select this one. Okay. Now you can also select your luminosity. If you want light luminosity or dark luminosity, that can also be done. Then we have rotation and scale that works basically with your any flooring if you are providing, or any floor tiles if you are providing, you can use this rotation. Let me show you how it is going to be done if you are using any brick or stone. Okay, I'm just going to put and select this material and apply it over here. I'll just zoom in and zoom out so that my rotation is going to be visible over here. Okay, I cannot see my scale. So I'm just increasing my scale till to that, I can see that what scale of material I'll be using it over here. Okay, with this also I'm not able to find a scale. I think scale is quite high, which is not being visible over here. Okay, let me show you in another project which we recently opened. Over here you can see that we have this particular material. Again, I'll select my material and provide any stone material or brick material or whatever type of material you want to provide over here. So once I provide my material, now if I go for zoom, you can see that we have over here also property, and I can also select if I want luminosity or not. And now you can define that scale over here. You can see that scale is quite visible. So if I want to again increase my scale, I can simply select increase scale, and you can see that your material texture is increasing as I'm increasing the scale over here. If you define the scale to be lower, it is going to be lower down, and you can also define the orientation or rotation of your tiles. So that is also easy, that you can simply select what rotation of tiles you want, and it is going to be done with over here. And we also have other option, like we have roughness, we have metallicness. If you want to have a metalness over here with your particular material, that can also be added, and you can add it over here. Then we have over here immersive. So immersive is basically the glowing term. If you want a glowing texture onto your material, you can check this on, and you can define your glow. You can see if I select it over here, either I can put a amount over here, that what amount I want, or I can just scroll this bar and it is going to be glowed for me. Which, and why I'm talking about immersive over here is that you can use this particular option to create stadium glow outs for you. So with this glow option, you can create a glow kind of a structure if you want to provide onto your stadium very easily. So that can also be done. And if I want to provide it over here, let me provide it here. So if I select any particular material of mine, and once after I've selected it, I can create that particular material, and I'll select it over here, and you can see it is glowing right now. Right, so and you can also change the color. If you want to change a color over here, that can also be done. You can simply select your color, and your color is going to be changed from here. Right, and moving forward, let me just go with Control Z, because I'm not going to change any color, and I'm not going to create any glow out for over here. Now we have vegetation. So in vegetation, let me just go back. So if you want to go with and check your material library, so we have plastics over here. Into plastics also, you have a lot more options that you can go, and you can use this one to create the outer or exterior view of your material. And then we have roof coverings, grids, and we have much more materials over here that you can choose from. Right. After that, we have over here vegetation. So in vegetation, we have landscaping, grasses, trees, that you can go through it out. But for trees, I just need to show you one or two things which can be useful. So if you place any particular tree of yours, you have detail over here. You can select that what is the growth over here. If you want to change the age of your tree, that can also be done. So if you select it over here and scroll bar you over here, you can also select and change the age of your tree. And as you change your tree's age, it is going to be tall or heighted as you want it to be. And you can see that how easily I can simply change the age of my tree as well. And you can also define the season, what season you want. You want a summery season or winter season, that can also be defined over here, that what particular season you want to have with your tree. This is one option that you can create your trees. And if you want to populate your trees, like you want to create a forest over kind of a structure, and you want to provide n numbers of trees over here, in that scenario we cannot just simply select drag and drop at one by one. Instead of that, we have populate option. And if I select on populate, you can see that we have populate as path, foliage, and urban. I'll select foliage because we are talking about vegetation. That is why we need to select foliage. Once I select foliage, we have paint option and scatter. So in scattered, you can simply select 2 to 3 types of your trees to be added over here like this. You can simply select it and drag and drop it, because I'm dragging and dropping it. Now you can create it over here. And once you've created, let me just select this. You can set the diameter, that what diameter you want of your circle. And let me just, okay, this is going to be for painted. Just a moment. And I'll select it over here. Okay, now you can see that I'm just selecting it over here and it is creating the whole foliage for me. You can see, and you can also, again, like I said, you can define your diameter if you want your diameter to be over here, or if you want to change the diameter scale, that I want this much of diameter. And again, if you select your scattered option, you can just simply select it over here and it is going to create the vegetations for you. So that is how you can select your vegetation. If you don't want to use scattered option, you can use different option which is called as paint, so that can also be added and you can use that particular option. But we also have option as in age and season that you can change afterwards as well, right? And moving forward, this is one option that you can go with vegetation. Now let me just again select on populate. Now we have path. Path is basically for your people to move and walk around very easily. For your car or vehicles that you want them to be moved over here, you can create paths for them. So once I select on path, then also we have options over here that what type of path you want to create it over here. You want to create path for character, for cycles, for vehicles, what path you want to create. And once I select on any particular one option, because we need to define that for which particular character or vehicle we need to define our path. So once I select my path, now I can simply select the points over here because it is going to be created into points, and you can see, okay, let me just define the speed of my model, because your speeding also depends on your keyboard. So for zoom in and zoom out, we simply use, if you are from gaming software, you can remember this up that we use QWEASD term keyboards for moving up and down. For moving in, I'm using W. Let me just increase the speed. For S, I'm using zoom out. For Q, I'm using up. For E, I'm using down. For A, left, and for D, right. These are some keyboard shortcuts that you can use while working on Twinmotion. If you are familiar with any gaming software, you'll be able to memorize it very well and you'll be able to use them very quickly. And let me again change my speed, because as you are selecting your speed, we have 1 to 6 speed. Once you select 3 or 4, your speed is going to be defined at what speed you want. Like, and right now I've selected 3, so that is my speed right now if I'm selecting 3. Or if I select 5, you can see the change into my speed, how it is changing. And we were creating the path, so let me just again create it, and you are going to define your points over here. As you define your points, your path is going to be created. And once you have selected your path, you can define the width of your path, that how much of width you want for that particular path. You can also define the density, that how many people or percentage of the people you want on that particular path to be moved along. If I zoom in a bit, now you can see that how my density is increasing into this path and how people are moving. If you want that particular people to be moved in a reversed order, so that can also be a thing. You can see now they are changing their positioning. And if I select it over here, walk reverse again, so that means they are going into one direction only. You can simply just change the direction from moving forward to backward. That is how it is. And you can also change the clothing style. So if it is related to some corporate region that you are creating a render for, you can select your office over here. If you're selecting it to be travel, you can select it to be travel, and we have some beach outfits as well. So you can define how your character is going to look like once you are creating any particular population for your character's path, right? And you also have type. So if you want to define any particular type, that I want only Asians or Caucasians, you can define the types as well, right? So that is how we are going to populate over here. Now moving forward, we have media as well over here. So in media, we define our character. So, and you can create it for your vehicles and for your bicycles as well, these population tools, right? Moving forward, let me just go with Control Z. Now I'll go on to medium, because we have media option, and which is most important because we want to create our renders over here. So creating a render, you can also simply set your keyboard, which I told you, QWEASD, for setting up your screen. Once you have setted your particular view that you want this particular view to be captured, you can simply select it over here, click to create it over here, and your image is going to be added. Once you have selected your image, you can also define that how the time is going to be impact over here. So let me just go with changement. Okay, let me just move my speed to be 6. Okay, now I'll change it over here like this, and again I'll add it over here, and you can have another image. Simply you need to select it and you can have different images over here. Into one particular image I am going to change the time. So if you want a different time, let's just say I want a night or evening time for this particular image of mine, so I can define the time over here that I want evening time, and you can also have the detail what intensity of sun you want, what is the size of sun of you want, or if you want sun reflection, how much of reflection you want. So that settings also we have it over here, and you can also set your ambient, like what ambient and up to what balance you want your white lights to be over here. So that can also be a thing that you can do. And after that we also have weather. So if you want to have weather, exposure is basically that you can change your exposure over here for your image. So you can define that you want dark exposure or light exposure. Once again you are done with your exposure and providing all the materials of your, you can also define your exposure. Currently for me it is already set it on auto, but you can also define it by yourself. Then we have weather. If you want a weather to be cloudy, you can simply select it over here and it is going to be created a render. You can see the render right now it is having a cloudiest or rainy version, that you can create your image in a that it is having rain over here. Again, if you want back to your sun, you can simply select it over here. Or if you want a cloudy weather, you can just simply select it in between your sun and your rain season. And you again, if you want to change from sun to winters, you can simply again select it over here. Then you will be having winter season. If you are creating a render where you will be having snow also, then you can select it over here and you can create snows as well. So you can also change your weather into few clicks. So that can also be a thing that you can do. And moving forward, we have sun location. Right now you can see this is my sun location, but if I want to change my sun location, that also can be done very easily. You can simply select the location of your sun and you can define it that where it is going to be. So it is right now over here. You want your sun rays to be coming from this side, this angle. So you can set your sun location from this area, right? So this is how we have other options. If you are creating any water area or render, then you can select it to the ocean as well. Now, once you are done with your particular image, or let's just say you are happy with your image or you don't want to do any changes, you can and if you want to do any changes, you can simply select on it. And once you select on it, you can refresh it and this particular image of yours is going to be updated. So you can also refresh your image what you have already taken it from. And after that, if I go with export, that I want to export my images or any panorama. For video, we have this option. So for videos, again, you need to click different angles. After selecting your different angles, let me just select this over here. Then I'll move from over here and I'll select it again. You can also define that how many seconds it is going to be between your one angle to another. Again, if I select it over here, I can simply select on click add button and it is going to be added. If you want a particular clip to be inserted in between these three, you can also define it over here that it is how it is looking to be, and I can simply add it over here and it is going to be added in between the two clips, right? So that can also be a thing. And if you want to just select and play on it, that how it is going to be played, and you can see that how it is being played right now. And if you want to again play it on a loop, that can also be a thing. Or if you want to make it shorter, so you can also collapse it over here, like I have already done it. Now I want to work on another part, so I can just collapse it over here and it is going to be created into one video. Or if you want to do any editing, you can click on this particular option and you can click it over here and do any cut over here, right? And after that we have panorama over here, so you can create panoramas as well. You can also create any panorama sets. So if you want to define 2-3 sets of panorama, you can use panorama sets over here. For exporting, we have this option export. Once you click on export, you'll be having whatever the options that you have worked on is going to be highlighted over here. Like in our case, we have created some images, we have selected some videos. So I can simply select and add. Once I select and add, it is going to ask me that what images you want to export it over here. I select these two. Now I'll go back, then I'll select over here video, and as I select on video, I can simply select on my video as well, and I can define that what format I want. I want a MP4 format for video, what frame rate I want. For every frame rate, you want 25 frame rate MPP FPS, or if you want 60 or 120, that can also be done. If you want any custom range between these, like you don't want to go with these four frame rate, you can also create some custom range. And after that, once you are done with all the settings, you can simply select on Start Export, define the location of your folder, and it is going to be exported. Okay, in my case, let me just select a location over here. Just a moment. I'll select it and select this folder. And currently it is estimating the time, that how much time it is going to be taken. And once my time is going to be calculated, it is going to be exported from here. Okay, with the videos, it is taking 1 hour, but it don't usually take this much of time. I think because of the videos it's taking, or it will get reduced as we are going to see afterwards. You can see now it is 5 minutes. So this is how it is going to have the exports over here, like within 6 to 10 minutes or 20 minutes. More, it doesn't require more than that, right? So it is how it is going to be. Okay. And guys, that's all for today's webinar. Any doubt, any question, if you guys have, you can drop it into Q&A section and we'll happy to answer. Um, I think you don't have any question. If you have any question related to design, brief, or anything related to any other topic, yes, Seda, what you want to ask? Parametric structure as in any example of any parametric structure. Okay, if you are providing any structure from Revit, or it is in any OBJ format or any other format, like I said, it is going to be done very easily. But if you are using any software which is not compatible, good enough, it doesn't have any free space up to 30 GB, then sometimes it get okay. When will the render function be ready for Apple computers? I am not sure. I'm totally not sure what is the status related to Apple's. I'm not sure for that as of now. Okay, anything, any other doubt? Okay, then I think that's it for today. Thank you, everyone. And this was your second last topic that we have covered for design advanced. And in the last particular webinar, we'll be talking about that how we are going to submit our project, or you can say design, after completion. Okay, guys, I'm just going to stop the recording. Thank you, everyone.